Hello and welcome back to my channel, Boozy Bookish Thoughts. I'm Justine, or Jay if you prefer, and thanks for tuning into my latest video. So, to everyone who watched my previous video and left really sweet comments, thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate them, and it's always nice to know that there are people out there who care enough to leave a comment. It's not always been that I'm able to talk about what I'm going through. So to be able to talk about things and then hear people validate those feelings is a big deal for me, and it matters. So thank you to everyone. But today we will be doing a little catch up, currently reading catch up, and looking ahead into November TBR. And then on Friday, the video coming up on Friday, we will do the usual October wrap up because I actually did finish books this month. Yay. So there. We are still drinking the Hope's End wine. I haven't gotten through the bottle yet, so we are still drinking it. Because I don't want it to go to waste. Don't worry, next week we will have a new wine, and next week we will do a new wine and book pairing. So just stay tuned for that. I'm not sure what wine we're doing yet, so I can't advertise it this week. But let's see, it'll probably be a rosé because that's what I have in stock. So it will probably be a rosé. Anyway, so we are still drinking Hope's End, and then now on to currently reading. So I am actually in between books right now, or at least on my Kindle. So I'm in between books on my Kindle. I just finished 3 books in quick succession. 3 books in quick succession today, although one was technically a short story and the other was only a novella. But I went on a reading binge today and I finished all of them, and that's my unfinished project done for this round. Now, I admit I have been more generous with myself lately in terms of reading, DNFing, adding to my unfinished list and all of that. But I'm super proud of myself that I got through all 3 of these books. And so now I am officially in between books on my Kindle at least. And then on audiobook, I am 2/3 of the way through Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. It is actually really good. I'm super enjoying it. It's a little different than what I was expecting, but in a good way. And I don't know, I'm not sure, I'm still thinking how I'm supposed to review it and correct the description I gave of it without spoiling things, because it is pretty spoilery. But I'll think about it. That's a problem for another video. But it's very good. There are trigger warnings for it, like referencing my past video. There are definitely trigger warnings for Magpie Murders. However, I think that it does handle potentially triggering topics quite respectfully, considering it's a murder mystery. Usually murder mysteries only use potentially triggering topics for shock value, but I'm finding that this book is handling it quite gracefully. So I'm continuing with it. But I have told myself that if anything becomes too graphic or giving me too much of an ick, I will stop, no matter how interested I am. But so far so good, and so I'm hoping I will finish that out soon enough. I'm about 2/3 of the way in. I only have 5 hours left. It's a pretty hefty book, and I'm listening to it on audiobook. So there you go. So talking about my plans for November, as I said, I'm going to be rather generous to myself. I am going for my print books. I am mostly going to be I have abandoned completely all of my previous plans because a lot of those books were rather heavy. Some of them are kind of dark. Some of them are just honestly too long for me right now, and too complex. That's not what I'm looking for my reading this month. I just want to go bang 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 through the books and have good cozy clean fun. So for my Kindle books, all of these are cozy mysteries. Some are paranormal, but some are historical, but they're all basically cozy mysteries. The first is Trisha O'Malley's Tequila for Two. This is the second book in the Althea Rose mysteries. I talked about the first during a wine and book night, and this is the second book in the series. This is another trend you will find throughout a lot of these books. These are second books in the series, second, third, or even fourth books in the series. So I admit I don't know the exact plot of each book. So I will be providing only the general concept of the series. So Trisha O'Malley's Tequila for Two is part of the Althea Rose mysteries. Althea Rose is a psychic who lives in the Florida Keys, I think, and she helps solve mysteries. Yeah. In the first book, she was drawn into a mystery where her best friend was accused, and then of course there's a love triangle and there's a gay best friend and all that. So it's good, clean fun, and it's set in sunny Florida, and that's exactly what I want to read about on this gloomy November. The next is Morgana Best's Witch's Magic. Now this is the fourth book in the series. It was originally called Witches and Wine when I started reading it, but I think some of the later editions have it labeled as Vampires and Wine, which honestly is a bit of a spoiler if you ask me. But it's about a woman, I forget the name of the main character, but it's about a woman who moves in with her three eccentric aunts, and she is a witch at the time that she moves in, but then she discovers her aunts are witches too, and like I said, she discovers she's a vampire. Except these vampires are very genteel and all they drink is wine. It's like a special wine that's been fortified or something, and it's about all the bodies that drop dead around the bed and breakfast that she runs with her aunts. And of course there's a handsome male character, and in the last book he rescued her from a kidnapping. So I am quite excited to get into this fourth book and see how that romance is progressing. The next one is really a short story, but I've been wanting to get to it for a long time, but I keep putting it off because I'm like, oh, it's only a short story. I don't want to waste my reading on this. But I've decided I'm not going to be revisiting my unfinished list for a while. So I've decided to go ahead and read this, and that is T.E. Kinsey's Christmas at the Grange. Now, this is a short story that is set in the same universe, if you want to call it that, the same universe as the Lady Hardcastle mysteries. I'm not sure if I've talked about the Lady Hardcastle mysteries here before, but it is one of my favorite historical mystery series, and it is about the titular Lady Hardcastle and her ever loyal, ever faithful lady's maid Flo Armstrong, and the two of them solve mysteries together because using their special set of skills, to quote a famous movie. It's pretty unrealistic, but it's the research done for the historical setting is very good, which I find very interesting, and the characters are delightful. Their chemistry is amazing, and it's one of my favorite historical mystery series. And this is a short story that's set in between, I think, books 2 and 3 or something like that. Anyway, it's set pretty early on in the series, and I've never read it, and I want to get back to it. And the next book is also related to this series, that is The Deadly Mystery of the Missing Diamonds. This is like a sequel set of mystery series. It features some of the minor characters in the Lady Hardcastle mysteries. I don't know if it features Lady Hardcastle, but it features some of the secondary characters in the series in a more starring role, and apparently they start solving crimes. It's like a one of the musicians, and I think her detective friend makes an appearance as well. So it's by the same author, and so I'm excited to pick it up. I've owned this book for quite some time, but I've never gotten around to it. So I'm happy to get to it now. The next book is Andrea Penrose's Murder at Queen's Landing. This is a book in the series Rexford and Sloane. This is a historical mystery. I don't know if you would qualify this as cozy because it's a little it tries to be, or at least it tries to be a little grittier, a little darker, but overall it's still pretty genteel. Nothing is graphic. At least I don't think so. I still find it to be pretty cozy, so I still consider it cozy mysteries, and I don't find it triggering at all. So I am putting it on my list for November. This is about the premise of the series is that a duke, I think he's a duke or a lord or something like that, who is interested in science, gets involved in solving mysteries with an artist. She is a satirical artist whose identity is completely unknown to the public, but then he discovers her identity, and the two of them help solve a murder. And then from there, they get involved in other mysteries. Obviously, a romance develops between them. That's as per usual. And at this point, I think they have officially declared their intentions towards each other. So I am not sure how that will affect their chemistry. Let's see. So all of these books have been books by authors I've previously read. They're nearly all later parts in a series. And that is intended because, like I said, I'm feeling kind of fragile. So I want something familiar. I want something that I can rely on and be sure is not triggering. However, I did want to mix things up a little bit. I didn't want to risk getting bored. So I am including Joanne Fluke's, is that the correct pronunciation? Joanne Fluke's Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder. This is also a mystery series, but based on the title and based on the synopsis, I'm assuming it is also a cozy mystery. So it's about a baker who finds a delivery boy dead in the alleyway behind her bake shop, surrounded by like her chocolate chip crisps or something like that, her chocolate chip treats. And so of course she gets drawn into the murder mystery investigation and trying to defend the honor of her treats and I guess of herself. So that is that. I've never read this author, but I see it's super popular on Amazon and it is available on Scribd. The entire series is available on Scribd. So I am going to read it there in case I get bored with all the other murder mysteries that I'm reading. I will also note that I have been meaning to reread the Sherlock Holmes series in its entirety for some time, and I'm wondering if this will be a good time to do it since I'm not following my alternating between new books and unfinished list. So keep that in mind. I might be reading a lot of Sherlock Holmes, so don't be surprised if my wrap up in November is just like the entire collection of Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes mysteries. That is, at this point, a distinct possibility. This is a really good wine. Okay, on to audiobooks. So I am really loving Magpie Murder, so I hope to be done with that soon. However, I am continuing the trend of murder mysteries, generally cozy murder mysteries, or at least perceived to be cozy murder mysteries. Now, all of these are new authors to me, so I haven't had a chance to check them for content warnings yet. So if you know of any potentially triggering topics in these, I would appreciate if you left a comment, or also be responsible if you want to look them up for yourself. So the first is Agatha Christie's Death on the Nile. The movie of this came out already, and as with everything, I want to read the book first before watching the movie. So this is a Hercule Poirot mystery, and it's a little funny because they mention Agatha Christie and Hercule Poirot and Magpie Murders. So I was like, hey, you know what? I should continue the theme. The next is Betsy Reevely's Murder at the Book Club. This is also a cozy mystery, and I'm not entirely sure of the plot, but it is about a murder set at a book club. The next is Dennis Domning. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And this is the Season of the Raven. This is a historical mystery. It's called the Servant of the Crown series, and it's about like a king's magistrate or something like that who travels to a small town and has to solve a mystery there. So it's not just historical. Usually when you say historical mystery, it's like Victorian England. This is like way back. This is medieval times. And then the last is Elizabeth Peters' Crocodile on the Sandbank. This is this is the first of the Amelia Peabody series, I believe that's called, which is also a historical cozy mystery. I believe it is set during the British occupation of Egypt. Now, normally I don't go for colonial literature because it's kind of problematic and it tends to glamorize colonialism. But I got really interested in this character because she seemed like a bit of a spitfire. And you never know, sometimes they surprise you. Sometimes the main character speaks with a more modern voice and decries the situation. So I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to give it like one book to see how it goes. And then let's see. If not, also I'm just getting this off of Scribd, so it's not like I paid anything to the author for this. So well, I guess I paid Scribd, but I mean, it's not pirated, at least there. But anyway, so those are the murder mystery heavy TBR for November. Like I said, lots of cozy mysteries, lots of paranormal, historical mysteries, just something cozy and relaxing and something that I can use to distract myself from my thoughts. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found this interesting, even if it was a little bit rushed and a little bit repetitive, because like I said, I'm not giving lots of details for these books. But anyway, I hope you found that interesting, and I'll catch you on Friday. Cheers.